Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's IELTS speaking class with myself, Alexander. I will be going through some tips related to the speaking exam today, and I will also be doing practice with students live in the class so that they can get feedback on their IELTS speaking skills, and also for the benefit of those watching, so that you can pick up on some good practice and also some practice which could be potentially improved within the context of the IELTS speaking exam. So a very warm welcome to all those who are watching live today, whether that be on YouTube or Facebook. Do let me know if you are watching live. Send me a comment in the chat box, and let me know also which country you are watching from. So I can see that already we've been joined by Abby, who is watching live on Facebook. Welcome to you, Abby. Who else is watching? Alice has joined us live in the class. Hello to you, Alice. We've also got Tilda watching on Facebook from Nigeria. Hello to you, Tilda. Abby's watching from Saudi Arabia. And we've got Sophia also watching on Facebook from the USA. Ezran has joined us, watching live on Facebook. Hello to you. I am well today, Sophia. Very well, thank you very much. How are you today? Annie is watching from the UK. Hello, Annie. And we've got Basil as well watching on Facebook. Hello to you, Basil. Safa has joined us. Hello, Safa. I can see that we have potentially a new student as well joining us live in the class. We've got Aldrian as well. Welcome to you. Okay. And how about on YouTube? Are you watching us live on YouTube? If you are, let me know in the chat box. Let me know which country you're in and where you're watching from. Okay, so for this week then, the tips that I'm going to focus on in relation to today's class are going to be linked to giving opinions. Opinions obviously are crucial when it comes to the IELTS exam, particularly part 3. So I look forward to looking at these materials with you. I like to make this as interactive as possible, so please do give responses to the questions that I ask if you think you know the answer, and we can discover what the best approaches are together. I'm well, thank you, Safa. I'm doing very well. I hope you are too. Yeah, I'm doing well, Basil. How are you doing? Yes, Sophia, we do. We have people from all over the world, which is great, which is what I really enjoy about this class, seeing people joining us from multiple continents, multiple countries, so many countries around the world. An example, Jessa has joined us on Facebook. Hazrat is watching from Pakistan. It's another example. And we've also got Selena, who is watching from the Philippines. Sophia, you love to give and take opinions? Well, you're in the right place. It's morning where you are, is it, Safa? Okay, here it's the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon. So coming towards the end of the working day, getting ready for the weekend. Marcia is watching us from Bermuda. Bermuda. I've not heard of Bermuda. You'll have to educate me, Marcia. Where is Bermuda? Okay, so let's have a look then at the materials that we are going to be practicing with today, or at least some of the tips, and then we will move on to do some live speaking practice. If you are a member of the scholarship group, then do join me live in the class. The more students that join, the better. Then we can get lots of practice done together and provide lots of useful feedback. Okay. So, as I was saying, opinions. Just before I go on to opinions, if you would like to receive more support in your dream of living and working in the USA as a nurse, then join us at the IELTS Scholarship Program. You could sign up today and you could receive extra support in order to help you achieve those goals. So it can often be challenging getting over the line when it comes to achieving the score that you need in the IELTS, but this is something that we can help you with, and we can provide you with so much support in terms of achieving the dream of living and working in the USA. You could potentially as well receive all of this support for free. So do click on the link, which I'll be sharing in the chat box in just a moment. And also, if you have a look at the bottom of the screen, you will see a link as well for joining us on the scholarship program. So just click on that link, which I'm going to share in the chat box. Also, as I say, you have the link at the bottom of the screen, which you can use if you want to find out more information. Now, let's get on to the opinions that I was previously speaking about. And what I want to focus on today is variety, how we can employ a bit of variety when it comes to expressing our opinions. So in part 3 of the exam, you will have to give opinions on a number of topics. Here are some expressions which we could use to give opinions. However, only one of the options is correct. So we can see here with options 1, 2, and 3, we have 2 adverbs, but only one of the adverbs is correct. So here is the first task for today. Which of these adverbs is correct in each of the sentences? What do you think? So let me know in the chat box if you think you know the answer. Which would we go for? Would we go for I strongly believe or completely believe, somewhat agree or quite agree, absolutely reject or significantly reject? Which of these adverbs do you think are correct in each case? Okay, so let's see. You can see we've been joined by Andiswa, who is watching from South Africa. Hazrat, this is the first time you're watching. Welcome to you, Hazrat. I hope you find the class useful today. So what do we think? So Annie for number 1. Which one for number 1, Annie? Completely or strongly? Which option would you go for? Decisions, decisions. It's a difficult one. Huh? Safa says strongly. Hazrat also says strongly. Okay, strongly believe, says Tilda. Quite agree, also Tilda says. Absolutely reject. Luis is very confident. Strongly is correct. Annie says strongly. Okay, so lots of people saying strongly. Okay, quite seems to be a popular one for number 2 as well. Although Adajat is saying somewhat for number 2 and absolutely for number 3. So we've definitely got agreement for number 1. Well, let me confirm then. Okay, were you surprised? So strongly is correct, so well done. Everyone was confident about that one. But we wouldn't say quite agree. Quite agree would not be appropriate. I quite agree with that idea. Would not be appropriate. That wouldn't be a correct collocation with the adverb and the verb. So somewhat would be. You could say, I somewhat agree with that view. And for number 3, absolutely would be the correct adverb to use. Yeah, absolutely reject. We can't say I significantly reject. That would not be a natural expression to use. So these are the answers then. Which of these sentences do you think expresses a strong view, and which of the sentences expresses more of a balanced view? What do you think? So Hazrat, be careful. It's not I'm somewhat agree, it's I somewhat agree. Yeah, I somewhat agree with that idea. Yeah, absolutely reject is correct. So good. So Lauren is saying somewhat is balanced. And so therefore strongly believe or absolutely reject would be more extreme, wouldn't they? They would express strong views. So clearly strongly believe is a strong view, and so is absolutely reject. That's a strong view as well. Yes, Hazrat, first time watching, and you were correct. Well done. You're obviously coming to this class with some good experience. So yeah, absolutely. Definitely, number two is a balanced view, and one and three are stronger views. But what other adverbs could we use with the above verbs to express strong views and balanced views? So some alternatives. I'll have a look at these with you together. So some alternatives we could use, as well as strongly believe. We could use definitely believe. We could use completely or definitely agree. We could use totally, completely, or utterly reject. So these are all the different adverbs we could use. So even though we might use the verb believe quite a lot in our speaking, we can vary it. We can say, I strongly believe, or I definitely believe. Moving on to agree, to give a strong view, completely or definitely, but we could also use these adverbs if we wanted to give a more balanced opinion. So I generally agree with that statement. However, I partially agree with that, but, and with reject, we looked at totally, completely, and utterly, as well as absolutely. But if we wanted to give a more balanced view, we might say, I partially reject. So I partially reject that idea, but it does have some merits. And then you can go on to explain. So any other adverbs you think we could use with these verbs, apart from the ones that I've shared here? Any others that you would suggest? Let me see. So let me know again in the chat box. If there are any other adverbs that you would use with these verbs, do let me know as well which verbs you would use them with. So we can say completely agree, but we can't say completely believe. We can say I definitely agree, but definitely reject. Doesn't sound as natural. It's not wrong. It doesn't sound, I definitely reject that view. Sounds too strong. But definitely agree certainly is a natural expression. So, Adajat, genuinely, what would you use with genuinely? Genuinely believe would be a good one, actually. So genuinely believe would be a strong expression of opinion. I genuinely believe that is true. So that would be a good one. Any others? Any other adverbs that you would use? Okay. Okay, no worries. We've got quite a few here in terms of variety. And that's the key, really. As I say, it's to use variety in our use of opinion vocabulary, and using adverbs allows us to do that. So just a final activity, and then we're going to do some speaking practice together. Can you see any mistakes in the following sentences? So there are 4 sentences here. There's a mistake, at least one mistake, possibly more than one mistake in each one. So how could we make corrections in these sentences? We've got some more suggestions for adverbs. Truly, yeah, truly believe would be a good one. Okay, so for number 1, the error I can see is identified by Lauren and Alice. I am, yeah. That is a common mistake when giving opinions, to say I am agree. We shouldn't do that. So well done for spotting that for number 1. What about the other sentences, 2, 3, and 4? Can we see any mistakes here? Let me know if you can. So let's see. Consider, yes. So we don't use consider for expressing an opinion. I consider. Yeah, there's a problem there, isn't there? We need to make a change. So Lauren, change consider to believe. Okay. And what about number 3? What's the problem with number 3? I'm not agree with that statement should have written Haha. No, Hazrat, no. Don't use the verb to be with agree. Never use the verb to be with agree. Remember that as a rhyme. Okay, good. So let's just have a look then at the answers so that we can then move on and do a little bit of practice together. And so, as I was saying, don't use the verb to be with agree. So, of course, I partially agree, not I am partially agree, is what the answer should be. Rather than I consider that it is not true, that's a very unnatural way of expressing your opinion. It should be I don't believe that is true. I don't believe that is true. Yeah, is a way that we can express that idea. For number 3, we can't say I somewhat believe, but we could use I somewhat agree. So we would use somewhat with the verb agree. And then for number 4, we need do. So we can't say I not agree with that statement. We need I do not or don't. Or, of course, we could say I disagree with that statement as well. But we need to be using the verb do in this case. Or, of course, we could just say, we need to be using the verb do if it's negative. Yeah, I do not agree or I don't agree with that statement. Okay. Right, so we're going to move on now to do a bit of speaking practice. Just remember in the practice we do today, as a tip, ensure that your opinion language is accurate and varied. You should use adverbs to show variety, but you have to make sure that you use the correct adverb with the appropriate verb. That way, you're going to get a higher mark for your vocabulary. So we're going to start with speaking part 3, because that's all about giving opinions. And we can see here just a few points related to speaking part 3. So it will be Q&A in format in the exam. The topic for part 3 will be linked to part 2. Usually this section will last for 4 to 5 minutes. The questions will ask you to give opinions, of course, as we've been discussing. So you should make sure that you give a clear response, and you can do that by using linkers. And you should make sure as well that you explain and justify your opinion as part of your response to these questions. So let's see who is in the class at the moment, who I can bring in to do some practice. You can see Lauren is with us, so let me bring Lauren in. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Alex. Hi, good
Welcome
evening
back.
from the Philippines.
Good evening
Yes,
to you.
thank you.
How have you
Thank
been?
you. Hi, I've been busy for these past weeks because my
Yeah.
uncle and my grandmother died. That's why
Oh,
I'm trying
God.
to get back on track. Yeah,
I'm so sorry. So sorry to hear that, Lauren.
yeah, but I
Must have
need
been really,
to keep pushing through.
yeah, of course, of course. But it must have been difficult for you. But it shows your level of motivation is inspiring. So I'm glad. I'm really glad to see you back.
Yes, thank you, Alex.
No worries. Um, so Lauren, how do you feel about part 3 and giving opinions? Are,
Um,
are you comfortable with giving
this is the
opinions?
most it depends on the topic.
Hmm.
If the topic is not that familiar with me, then definitely it would be challenging to answer, but I'll do my best.
Okay, that's all we can do is do our best. But yeah, I think you're going to do pretty well, Lauren. I've got a good feeling about it. So let's have a look at the topic we're going to have a look at today. And the topic is, as you can see, online shopping. So my first question to you, Lauren, is why do you think so many people shop online these days?
Well, I believe that people are more into online shopping because it's convenient for them in a way that they don't need to go outside their houses or expose themselves to different people, because with the click of the with just a click of a button they could easily access different shops and have a wide variety of products that they could choose from, so that they would be able to amass the things or acquire the items that they need in groceries and different shops.
And do you think that online shopping is more beneficial than shopping in store?
In my opinion, I believe that online shopping is more advantageous when it comes to acquiring or procuring different items from shops, because in that way it saves time and effort for people to choose the items that they need, not only for their own needs, but of course the needs of their families as well. Aside from that, it gives them way on or for them to multitask things, that they would be able to cook or to watch their favorite movie or TV shows while shopping at the same time. So I think that is the two aspects when it comes to online shopping that creates a positive or advantage when it comes to the people who are into online shopping.
And some people say that online shopping has destroyed the high street. What is your view of this?
I strongly agree with that, because nowadays more people choose to just shop online because they think that it would be more convenient for them to just browse aimlessly to the internet, so that they would be able to have a wide variety of choices while sitting in their soft and comfy sofa, what instead of um, going outside and exposing themselves to different people that they could acquire viruses around, especially now that we're on a pandemic. So a lot of people are trying to just focus on online shopping, so that they would be able to prevent diseases, and at the same time they save time and energy in doing shopping.
Okay. And finally, what problems do you think older people might have when accessing online stores?
My opinion about that is the elderly people are not that knowledgeable when it comes to browsing the internet. That's why they need assistance, or they need guidance from the younger generation for them to access different websites and different shops through online, so that they would be able to familiarize themselves on these buttons, and on how they would be able to purchase different items through online shops.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much, Lauren. I told you I had a feeling that this would be a very good bit of practice, and definitely that feeling was correct. So,
Yes.
yeah, you had so many ideas, you expressed them so well, you developed your points, you used a wide variety of vocabulary, your ideas were clear as well. Nice use of some different opinion language, so it was great to see you picking up on that. Strongly agree at one point you used. And yeah, you did really well. Like multitask, procuring, a nice word there, less common words. You paraphrased appropriately as well. You talked about the reason why people are more into online shopping. So you paraphrased the question to show your own vocabulary. Um, and yeah, and just some really logical ideas as well. So people shop online to avoid viruses. So yeah, some really good responses there, Lauren. Um, just some points. At one point, you were talking about. You said it creates an advantage, which was nice, which was a fine expression. But you kind of paraphrased just a little bit. So you said it is more than you said it creates an advantage. So a word you could have used there as an adjective is it is advantageous. So that might have been,
Advantageous. Okay.
yeah, that might have been a
Okay.
nice adjective to use. But yeah, that's just a little bit of an extension, really. And then at one point, you said that they could acquire viruses. Usually, you might say to contract a virus. That would be the more
I
appropriate one.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
Contract.
just
Yes.
or just get a virus is another verb that we use. But these were very small points that I'm just picking up on, just because it just gives you something, I guess, to use to make even further improvements, because what you did was really good. Um, so yeah, really good, really positive stuff there, Lauren. Well done.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much.
No worries, no worries. We're a little bit quiet in the class today for some reason, so hang around. I might bring you in to do a bit more practice later on if you're available.
Okay, sure, sure.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Lauren. Okay, so let's move on to another topic. And we'll be looking at the topic of the city for part 3. But yeah, that was really good, wasn't it, guys? Lauren, there's some really good answers, which is just a fantastic example of part 3, really, in terms of giving responses that are logical, expanded, variety in terms of language and grammar. So I'm going to bring Alice in now, and I'm sure Alice is going to give us a fantastic example as well. Hi there, Alice.
Hi, Alex.
How are you this week?
Very well, thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. Anything new to report?
Not quite. Still doing a bit of practice to see how best I can improve.
Good, 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 good. That sounds like a very sensible strategy. Well, Alice, you can see I've brought up the topic of the city for part
Yes.
3. How are you when it comes to expressing opinions? Do you feel comfortable giving strong opinions, balanced opinions?
Well, not very sure about that. I think the kind of texts that we were looking at before we started the session, they're common texts, but I don't think I have ever looked at them in a more particular way, specifically. I'm not very sure that I've been using them correctly, but because like now I was so surprised about the word somewhat.
Right.
I'm not very sure I can be able to use it in a sentence correctly, but I think I'll have to practice.
Yeah, we can give it a go, can't we? We can give it a
Yes.
go and then see. Okay, well, let's have a look at some of these questions together then, Alice, on the topic of the city. And
Okay.
the first question I have for you is, why do you think that young people generally enjoy going to public places?
I guess, or rather, I think that it's because most of them are able to enjoy the flexibility that comes with public places. Most of the time, you find that they will get opportunities whereby if they want probably to run, to play whatever games they would be interested in, it's usually very easy for them because there is flexibility. Unlike whereby they don't have enough space. And as you all know, most of the young people are quite energetic. So they would really want to have a space whereby they can use to their own advantage by ensuring that they can they can move around without any restrictions.
Okay, and which kinds of public places do older people usually go to?
I believe that as one ages, because as I've just mentioned, they're not like the young generation. So in terms of flexibility, most of them may not need so much space. But for those ones who are very keen, especially in terms of improving their way of life, ensuring that they're able to keep fit, they may not mind so much going out to the public places, but not as much as the young people do. But I also believe that for the elderly, they wouldn't need to have so much space because they can still do so much within a compound whereby they do not have a lot of flexibility because they may be more focused than the young people or the young generation.
Okay, and what do you think will happen to cities in the future? How do you think that they might change?
One of the challenges that I believe or I think that might become different is the fact that most of the cities are overcrowded. And for example, in my country, we have parks within the city. And what I have observed or have witnessed is that you find most of the activities like building certain buildings have been coming up. But unfortunately or fortunately, most of the activists have been against it. But I guess in the future, if we do not have control over all these kind of things, most of these places you might find that people may start building, and that would mean that children and even the young people may not have spaces where they can go out and play, or probably just go out and have, some fun, going out for picnics and all that. So this might also compound the fact that people will not be able to relax, especially during the weekend.
Do you think that cities will become more popular in the future?
Well, to be honest, I don't think so, because if I can mention that, like in my country, we started having the counties, whereby you realize the government has been investing so much in terms of development. And since the city life is quite expensive in terms of the transport, the utilities that people have to pay for, I want to believe that in the future, most people might opt to go out into the counties because life might end up being cheaper. If they want to rent out houses, even if it's not building, it might be cheaper for them because the government might also decide to invest in the infrastructure, which they have already started doing. And by doing that, people might want to live anywhere. So they may not have to necessarily live in the cities.
And finally, some people say that cities are the major cause of pollution in the modern world. Do you agree?
I want to agree with this statement because in the cities, you realize that we have public transport. Most of the people drive their cars. Like in my country, you find that there's a lot of traffic, especially either in the morning or in the evening. And by having so many cars on the road, this also ends up adding up on the pollution because they release a lot of fumes into the air, which becomes a pollutant to the environment. And by doing so, this puts the people's lives at risk because you find that most people will develop certain diseases, especially the respiratory infections. And this might not be going down in the future because most of the people have invested in cars, because whenever someone has a car, they can move around easily and it becomes quite convenient for them to do quite a lot during the day.
Okay, thank you very much, Alice. Some really nice responses there to these part 3 questions.
You're welcome. but I'm only afraid that I am not sure whether I was able to answer the second question. Well, I'm not sure that I answered your question.
It was difficult. That was the one about cities changing in the future. Is that the one you're referring to?
Which public places do older people usually go to?
Yeah. I mean, I think you gave a logical response. You were talking about the fact that younger people have more energy, they have less energy, so a place they can relax.
Okay.
It made sense. Yeah. Why did you feel unconfident about your response?
After answering the question, when I looked at it, I was wondering whether I was meant to talk about what the elderly prefer, or I was supposed to talk about the places that they would prefer.
Yeah, so you could have mentioned maybe a few examples of places, but yeah, generally speaking, you were obviously looking at the differences between older and younger people and the qualities that older people have, and so yeah, you addressed the question. But yeah, maybe a few examples. So you might have said, like, sort of parks or benches where they can rest or something. But yeah, you generally, you were expanding on the answers and you were developing your points. And I think that's the key really for part 3. Giving opinions as well throughout. To be honest, at one point you said, I want to say that I agree. To be honest, I don't think so. So yeah, that language was being used. Some variety in language as well, observed and then witnessed. So you're using a couple of options there. Giving examples, you refer to your country, and that's obviously naturally what we do. Whenever we try to explain something, we refer to the things that we know about. And so that's what you were doing as well, using your country as an example. Some good linking expressions by doing that. Was nice, by having so many cars, and then so you were linking one idea to the next idea and you were doing it skillfully. Pollutant was a less common term as well, so that was nice that you were using that. Just one point I'd have is that and I've said this before actually, you're using whereby a lot. Are you aware of that?
I actually thought I used the word believe quite often. I didn't notice that I was using the word whereby.
Yeah, you use it quite a
Which word
lot.
should I use instead of whereby?
So in a number of cases, you could have used in which.
Okay.
Because when you're referring to, if you say whereby, you're referring to a situation or concept. So you could say pollution is changing the environment whereby people now have more respiratory illnesses, for example. So you're referring to a situation, but if you're referring to a place, you want to use in which or just where. So yeah, so that's the thing. So you're using it sometimes where it wasn't appropriate. So just that's a good rule of thumb. If you're referring to a place, just use where or in which, and that would be the correct way of making reference in that case. But yeah, apart from that, that was pretty much the only thing that I picked up on really where there was any error in expression. Otherwise, really accurate language, and yeah, another really good example is in terms of how we should approach part 3. So well
Thank you
done,
very
Alice.
much, Alex. This is you've done a very good job since the time I started practicing with you. I think it has also helped me a lot to improve my speaking.
Good. Yeah, I mean, your speaking's always been really strong, but I've noticed that you're tightening things up. There are sometimes very few errors that you're making, and yeah, so as you just get more accurate and you have that variety, yeah, you've got a really strong speaking level. So it's good to hear.
Thank you.
Cheers, Alice. Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so Sophia, some really nice points that you were sharing in the chat. If you would like to participate in the class, join us at the scholarship program. At the scholarship program, we can provide support for your goals and ambitions in terms of living and working in the United States as a nurse. If you are not a nurse and you're watching this class, and maybe you work in a different medical profession, then you can still inquire at the scholarship program and we can give you more information. So if you think you might be eligible, if you think that the program might be useful, if you would like to participate in classes like this, just click on the link which you can see at the bottom of the screen. And I'll also share this in the chat box, and you can find out more information about how we could provide you with extra support in terms of passing the IELTS exam. So I'll share that information now. Just bear in mind, it is possible as well that you could get all of this extra support here from Swoosh English and Connetics for free. So I'm going to bring a new student into the class now. I'm going to bring Jess into the class. So let me do that. And we're going to go and have a look at a different part 3 topic, and that is the truth. So Jess. Hi there,
Hi, Alex.
Jess. Hello.
Hi, Alex. I'm sorry I missed 2 of the classes. Actually, I recently took my IELTS, but unfortunately, I got 6.5 in my speaking. But when it comes to reading and writing, I got a good score. I don't know what happened. I got all tens up during my speaking exam.
What is it?
Yeah,
What is it you need to get, Jess? What score do you
I
need in your
need
speaking?
I need to get a 7, band score of 7. Yeah.
Close. So you were close. Okay.
Yeah,
So
6.5. Yeah.
6.5. Was that the only area where you got below a 7 in speaking?
Yes.
Oh, well, in that case, you need to come every week.
Yes.
If that's all it is, Jess, it's just the speaking that you need to improve, then you're in a really good position because it means that you know where to prioritize. So, and you're close as well. 6.5 is close. So, okay, let's do some practice then, Jess, on the topic of truth. So, my first question to you is: do you think we should tell the truth at all times?
I definitely agree that we should tell truth at all times because whether we hurt someone because we're telling the truth, it is not good to let the person believe and let them be happy when you tell someone else when you're lying to. I guess that there's a saying that there's a saying they say that the truth will set you free. So whatever the circumstances, you need to tell someone the truth because everyone deserves honesty.
Some people say that it's better not to tell the truth if it will hurt someone's feelings. What's your opinion?
Well, I think I somehow agree and partially disagree when it comes to this matter. I guess you need to assess the situation wherein you you need to assess the situation. What I mean is, um you need to um I'm so sorry, Alex. I'm lost of words. I got lost of words.
Don't
So
worry. Do you want to continue?
yes,
Or,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, okay. I'll continue. I think that you need to assess the situation when you want to tell someone that the truth, because it will hurt even more if they will learn it from someone else, because if you truly care about that certain person, you always need to tell him or her the truth.
How do you know when other people are telling lies?
I think they say that the eyes are the windows to our soul. So whenever they are telling lies, they can't make a direct eye contact unless they are a professional liars. I mean, so when someone tells you a lie, you just need to believe in your instinct.
Do you think it's ever suitable to tell a white lie, a lie which is smaller with good intentions?
I'm I'm sorry.
Are you there, Jess?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? No?
Yes, I can. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Oh, we've got a bit of a technical issue. Can you hear me, Jess?
Yes, I
No?
can hear you now.
You can hear me. Okay, perfect. I'll move on. I'll ask another question. Um, do you believe it's possible to trust someone if we know that they've lied to us in the past?
I think every one of us deserves a second chance. So you don't need to judge someone if they did a mistake to you. So always remember that you need to make a space for someone who is willing to change. And I think that if you give that certain people a chance to prove himself or herself to you, it is a good a good I mean a perfect time to prove him, because each and every one of us is not perfect.
Good. Okay, thank you very much there, Jess. We got there. Even with the technical issues, we did get there. I like your use of sayings. You've got lots of sayings, haven't you? Um, the eyes are the windows to the soul. The truth will set you free. Everyone deserves a second chance. Lots of
Yeah.
lots of these sayings. I feel like you've got a saying for every question, which I mean, it is good. It is good because obviously you're using them correctly as well. You're using them in the correct context, so that is good. And you seem to be confident as well when you're using this language, but in some of your other responses, when you're developing your response, there seems to be hesitation and a little bit of a lack of confidence. So I
Yes.
think more practice, I think, is good for you, just to get
Yes.
back into the habit. Um, that's what I would say.
Okay.
I would say there, because you demonstrate when you're confident, you demonstrate good fluency, you demonstrate good grammatical accuracy, pronunciation. So you've got a lot of qualities there, but it's when you start to lose confidence, you start to hesitate. There's quite a lot of pausing. There are
Yes.
false starts, and that's what would have stopped you getting the 7. Would have been the fluency, just in those moments where the confidence is a little bit lower. So we improve confidence through practice. That's the best way to do it, because the more practice we have, the more familiar the situation becomes, and that will help you there, Jess. So I look forward to seeing you practicing. Just a few things. So it was good to see you using different expressions to show opinions, although you did say I somehow agree. The word is somewhat. I somewhat agree.
Somewhat. I somewhat
Somewhat,
agree.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you said I partially disagree, which is good. Yeah, partially disagree was correct. What was another? Yeah, did a mistake. So the verb with mistake is made, to make a mistake. So someone who made a mistake.
Who made
Yeah,
a mistake. Okay.
exactly. And just a final vocabulary point, you talked about to prove him. So it's always good to prove him. I think what you meant there is I wasn't sure if you test. Did you mean to test or to trust? I wasn't sure,
To,
because you were saying everyone deserves a second chance.
yes, I'm to prove himself, like
To prove
something like that.
himself. That's the one. That makes sense. Yeah, to prove
Yes.
himself. Yeah, give so give everyone a chance to to prove themselves, or give a person a chance to prove himself. Yeah, that would have made sense. Yeah, if you'd use the reflexive, of course. But yeah, apart from that, like I said, your accuracy is good, Jess, so that there's lots of strengths. To get a 6.5 in speaking shows that you have a good level of spoken English, but obviously your ambitions are a bit higher than that. So I think the fluency, the hesitation, that's the thing to really think about. Remember that you don't have to give a perfect response for part 3. All you have to do is express an opinion
Okay.
and explain your opinion. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as your ideas are clear and your language is accurate, then you will score highly. So I think sometimes maybe we put too much pressure on ourselves. We think, oh, I want to give a really good answer. As long as it makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't have to be profound. It
Okay.
doesn't have to be life-changing. As long as it makes sense. What you're being judged on is your fluency, your grammar, your vocabulary, and your pronunciation. And you've got a lot of good qualities there. Your pronunciation's good. And as I mentioned, there were definitely good points to grammar and vocabulary. So a bit more confidence, and I think we'll improve that score. All
Okay,
right.
thank you, Alex, for the feedbacks. Actually, the most struggling part of the IELTS for me is the speaking part, especially the part 3, because when the invigilator asked me, I keep on I keep on getting out of the question, and I can't answer the question that was thrown to me. So I was stuttering, and that's why
I
I
think,
just
yeah.
get my result a while ago. Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, it's overthinking. I think you're thinking about it too much, instead of imagine that you're talking to a friend and you're having a coffee and you're just having a conversation about big topics. Try and think of it like
Mm,
that, and all you're doing is just giving your opinion. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a genius. You just have to give your opinion, and that's it. That's all. You just need to show the ability to express opinions and support your opinions. But yeah,
okay.
I think that might be what it is, Jess. I think too much and then getting nervous, but it'll come. With
Yes.
practice, it'll come. You'll get more used to it, and yeah, I look forward to future
Okay,
practice
Alex.
sessions.
I'll definitely attend
Okay,
this class every Friday.
brilliant, brilliant. I'll look for you, Jess. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. Okay, so we're going to move on to part 2 now then, just for the final section of this class. And the topic we will be looking at will be, well, we'll stick with the same topic. We'll stick with the truth. Why not? For part 2, just a quick review for those who are less familiar with the IELTS. Part 2 will involve a specific question, which is given to you. It will be a topic card that you receive. You will have a minute to prepare, and then you should speak about the topic for between 1 to 2 minutes. Always aim to speak for up to 2 minutes, because the examiner may want you to continue speaking for that full time. And if you stop before the examiner wants you to stop, then it would potentially show a lack of fluency. So you want to be ready and prepared to keep speaking for the 2 minutes. So here we are then, the truths. This is the roll card, and I'm going to bring Dan in to do some practice. Hi there, Dan. Are you there? Oh, doesn't look like it. Dan is on mute. Okay, maybe he's not there. In which case, I did say, oh, we've got Marcia that's joined. Marcia, but you're not connected. Your devices aren't connected. So I would bring you in, but since you're not connected, I'm not able to do that. I'm going to bring Lauren. I'm going to bring you in again. I did say there may be an opportunity to do some more practice. So let me bring you in again.
Hi.
Hi, Lauren. Round 2.
Hi. Okay, sure.
So just before we start, Sophia's asked a question, why did we go backwards, first part 3, now part 2? The only reason for that, Lauren, is just because we were focusing today on giving opinions, and part 3 focuses on giving opinions. So that was the main focus of today's class. We're just doing part 2 now, just for a bit of variety, just so we don't spend the whole class just on one part of the exam. So that's why we focused on part 3. Why 2 minutes is fixed for part 2? So 2 minutes is fixed for part 2 because that is deemed to be long enough to show that you have a good level of fluency. It gives a long enough sample for the examiner to make an assessment as to your spoken ability. So in the test, it will be between 1 to 2 minutes that you should speak for, but always aim to speak for 2. If the examiner's happy, if they think they've heard enough after a minute or a minute and a half, they'll stop you. But you should always wait for the examiner to stop you. Don't stop speaking until the examiner does that. Okay. So, Lauren, can you see the card on the screen?
Yes, Alex, I can see it.
Brilliant. Okay, so you've got a minute to prepare, Lauren, and then you should speak on the topic for up to 2 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Okay, Lauren, are you ready to begin?
Yes, Alex.
Brilliant. Okay, so please describe a time when it was important to tell your friend the truth.
Okay. Truth can hurt people at times, and it is essential for us to tell people the truth, even if it hurts them a lot. So, I could vividly remember a couple of years ago, I talked to my friend named Jill. She's my high school best friend, and I saw her boyfriend with another girl in a restaurant. So at first, I was reluctant to tell it to her because I might destroy their relationship, and they had a long relationship already. So that's why I am thinking if I will tell it to her. And at the end of the day, I told her the truth, and she was crying a lot during that time. So at first, I thought that I made a mistake of telling her the truth because it could break the relationship. But at the end of the day, I felt relieved, and that I was able to let her know the truth, and she was able to talk to her boyfriend within that week, and they were able to clear things out. So I think it is essential for people to tell the truth at all times, because even though it can hurt other people or it could destroy some relationships, it is not advisable for us to sugarcoat things, especially when relationships are involved. And I believe that at the end of the day, the truth will always prevail, in a sense that even though we are not knowledgeable about the things that is really happening to us now, it
Okay, thank
will
you.
come out the next time. Okay.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Lauren.
Thank you.
So some really good stuff in there. I really liked some of the language that you were using, particularly some of the idiomatic expressions, and some of the yeah, so some of the more sort of colourful language. So to sugarcoat, I really liked that expression that you used, to sugarcoat things. That was really nice. And then clear things up. You said they were able to clear things up. That was another really nice expression that you used. Truth will always prevail. So prevail, yeah. I really like that as well. And yeah, just generally, your pronunciation was accurate. You spoke at a nice pace. You know, it wasn't too quick. It wasn't too slow. It was well measured, and you did a really good job in terms of demonstrating that fluency and the ability, obviously, to keep speaking about the topic for up to 2 minutes. So that was really strong. Just a few slips right at the beginning. There was a bit of he/she confusion.
Yeah.
Um, we went from he to she, and then I think we ended with she. But yeah, that was just at the beginning, and then that wasn't a problem after that. You did. There was a bit of a slip in tense at one point. You said, I think you said, I am really unsure what to do, because you're telling the story in the past, so you want it to be consistently in the past. So that was just,
Yes.
yeah, just a slip there on the tense. And then at one stage you also said you weren't sure because you said it could break their relationship. So end their relationship would be a better verb to use here. It could end their relationship, or you might say it could break up their relationship. That would be a
Okay.
phrasal verb
Break
that
up.
you would use. Yeah, to break up
Okay.
their relationship or end their relationship. But yeah, aside from that, again, really, really well done, Lawrence. Your speaking is really strong.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much.
Thanks. No worries. Take care. Okay. Well, thank you to all those who have participated in today's class, both those who have participated live in the class and those watching on Facebook and YouTube as well. Sophia had a question for who your friend is. Do we have to say the name? No, you don't have to give any names. I mean, you can invent a name if you want to, but you just say the context of the friend. So the friend was maybe a childhood friend, or a friend from your area, or a friend from work, like a work colleague. So you don't have to give any personal information about other people during the test. Okay, so as I say, thanks for all those who have participated. For those who joined the class, who I wasn't able to bring in, if only you joined a little bit earlier, I would definitely have been able to bring you in. So please do join us as soon as possible. We generally run the classes from 4 to 5 p.m. UK time. That's the time that we run classes almost every week. So please do join us as early as possible. The earlier that you join, then the better chance we can get you involved. And as I say, if you joined us earlier today, definitely I would have been able to get you involved. Marcia wants to do speaking next week. Marcia, if you're here and you're connected, then definitely we will do some speaking practice next week. And the same as well with Dan. Definitely for you as well. I will bring you in next week if you're with us, and we'll get some practice done. So just before we do end, a reminder about the opportunity that exists to get involved in speaking classes like this and to receive extra support in terms of achieving your IELTS goals. If you are looking to work as a nurse, and you're looking to emigrate in order to live and work in the United States, then we can provide you support in order to achieve that ambition. Join us today at the IELTS Scholarship Program. We're here at Swoosh English and Connetics USA. We're helping people pass the IELTS exam on a daily basis. So extra support we can provide you with and help you achieve those ambitions. So until next week, thank you very much and have a great weekend.